What's up everybody, my name's Arcane Keyblet and today I have a Kingdom Hearts theory. Actually, if it is true, could actually explain a lot of the ways XEHANORT has been able to plan a lot of things out, and that's dealing with the RECUSANT'S Sigil. Something that we've so far technically only seen in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, but maybe we've seen it somewhere else. But let's start out with what the RECUSANT'S Sigil is. This is a symbol in Dream Drop Distance that was used to track and guide Sora through his mastery exam, and placed on him by ANSEM in the brown coat on Destiny Island. And like I said, this is the first time we've seen the sigil. Or is it? In Kingdom Hearts, there are a lot of places that we see the X symbol, such as clothing, people's faces, and in names of people, and also the name of the Keyblade. And for the most part, I think we've all pretty much just scrapped it up that it's just character design. But maybe all those character designs with X's on them are actually RECUSANT sigils placed on them. Let's first look at one character, Isa, in the wholehearted version of Isa without the X on his face. When we first meet him, he was the best friend to Lee, and they seemed like happy-go-lucky kids. Even though Isa seemed a little stubborn, he was nowhere near evil. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for him to pretty much hate Axel once he turned into a nobody, or pretty much become a complete dick like he did. And that does anything that Xemnas says, because from what we can tell through a lot of the organization members is that they kept most of their personality and their memories, except for of course Roxas. So what would make Isa change so drastically? And I believe that could be the scar on his face. And we've never actually seen how he got the scar. Unlike how we saw Brig get his scar on his eye, we haven't seen how SAIX actually got his. And I believe this might be a RECUSANT sigil placed by Xemnas or XEHANORT. We don't know exactly who all has this ability, but they might have placed it on there so they could use him as a puppet for them. Because as a kid, he never had that scar, and now all of a sudden he does. That seems a little strange, and it's in the form of an X. And I know that it says that RECUSANT sigil is only allowed to like track or make it so you can guide people to where you want, but the thing is, we don't know everything about the RECUSANT sigil since we've never actually had it explained fully to us. We probably got a broad overview of what it did, but also the fact that this X or RECUSANT sigil, if it is on his face, probably has a stronger effect than say on clothing. And this will allow for his mind to be controlled and his personality to be altered. And if you're like, nah, he just got a paper cut on his face and he's just really grumpy about it, then don't worry, I have a few more. Let's look at Riku and Sora. If we look at both their designs, in Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku had an X on his chest, and Sora didn't. He had no sort of X really, unless you look at his feet, but I'll talk about that later. Riku only had the X on his chest. And then in 2, Riku lost the X on his design, and now Sora has it on his pants. But let's look at what happened to each of them in those respective games that they had the X on their outfit. In 1, Riku was basically used as a puppet for the darkness, and was guiding into being the vessel for ANSEM, a secret of darkness. Most likely where the RECUSANT sigil came from would be from the brown hooded version of ANSEM that was on Destiny Island, the same one that put it on Sora in Dream Drop Distance. And then we have Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2, who went to worlds that had a ton of Heartless, and on the world Sora in turn defeated them, and it turned out that hey, Sora just helped out the organization to finish Kingdom Hearts. And on how the sigil probably got on him, we know that the clothes that were given to him by the fairies. But right after the fairies disappeared, Maleficent was then formed, which maybe somehow that affected the magic that was used on him, or somehow before there was a remnants that affected the clothing that was given to him. Or maybe Yensid and the fairies are evil. Who knows? And this also could be a reason why Sora has to change clothing in Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's to get off the sigil. And notice how his design has no X on it. This kind of shows how each of them were used sort of as puppets in those certain periods of time in which they were both being used by either ANSEM or Xemnas, and overall probably XEHANORT. But one of the most interesting people that I saw had an X on them is something that we actually saw pretty recently. And that's young XEHANORT in Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. And this could mean two things. One, their master put a sigil on him to keep track of him because the master knew that Xehanort was dangerous. And then Xehanort broke out of it by killing their master. And also maybe their master is the owner of the Ram Keyblade, or the Keyblade that Xehanort has. And by killing his master, Xehanort somehow inherited the Keyblade. And then there's 2. Xehanort is being controlled or led by someone else to go and try to take the Ram Keyblade from his master. And then Xehanort killed the person that was controlling him, and again gained the ability to wield the Keyblade. And yes, these theories may seem kind of out of there. Also, the person that would be controlling Xehanort at the time might be the Lost Master. That could be another theory from another video. These 2 theories would really explain how Xehanort became the wielder of this Keyblade. Then my biggest piece of evidence, if you don't believe me so far, is the fact that every single person of the main 4 in Birth by Sleep, even 5 in Birth by Sleep, had an X on their outfit. Ericus, Vanitas, Ventus, Terra, and Aqua all have an X on their outfits somewhere. And as the story go on, they go through meeting people and doing things that ultimately led to a dark end for all of them, and especially for Terra, which you could see as he was going on, he was starting to become controlled more by the darkness. And these dark ends pretty much were Ericus being killed by Terra, who in the end had his body taken away, or taken over. Then Aqua being trapped in the realm of darkness, and Ventus going into a coma. Nobody said that any of these characters couldn't fight back against these people that are controlling them, but ultimately all these characters ended up in dark places. And also Vanitas, who was a darkness fighting for Xehanort, makes sense for him to have a RECUSANT'S sigil on him, who is seemingly destroyed at the end. And even though Xehanort's plan failed at the end, it still ended up coming together. It was just broken up by the fact that they all fought back together. One last thing, if you say, what about the people with the X's on their shoes? Then from what I can tell, the RECUSANT sigils have to be one big X, because RECUSANT sigil on someone like Kairi really just wouldn't make sense. And even Mickey for that matter, even though he did end up in the realm of darkness, that was more by his own choice. And also the RECUSANT sigil that was on Sora in Journey Distance was a bigger X, so you could just assume pretty much figure out that it's just one X. Though, if this theory happens to be right, then that could explain how Xehanort was able to plan out a lot of the things he did. And this whole time he was using everyone as chess pieces. Oh, you see that? The chessboard in the trailer? Yep. Woo! But yeah, that is my big 3. Tell me what you think about it. I haven't really made a big 3 like this before. But yeah, but if you think that I'm snorting coke, or if you don't think that my theory has any grounds at all, then tell me if you have a theory about all this. Otherwise, thanks for watching. My name is the Arcane Keyblade, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.